Hello, welcome to Chronically Glitched. This is Martini. Just me this week. I've had the plasterers come and do some work in my house this week, which desperately needed doing. We had Artex from the 80s that was in when we moved in, and we've never been in a position to get it sorted due to pets, money, one or the other, both sometimes, and we had to get it done, and we've eventually got it done. And oh my god, what it has done to my health and my mental health. I just thought, right, I need to talk to you about this. So let's get into it. When we moved into our house, there was Artex on the ceiling in the front room, the ceiling in the kitchen, and all the walls in like the little hallway landing area. It's only a little 2 up, 2 down, so the kitchen has the staircase going up into the tiny landing. But the walls of that whole thing was covered in Artex on all those. So the 2 ceilings and in the landing. And either we weren't in a position to pay somebody to do it, but then, that was the case when we moved in. Then, as Ollie, our Dalmatian, aged, he was never good with people anyway. He was mistreated when he was with his first family and beaten, and he had a scar on his nose, and he was extremely scared of people. So although he got better with that, and he was just a really nervous dog around strangers. And we couldn't really have people in the house because it's really unsettling for him, and then it's really unsettling for me. So the stress of how Ollie's feeling stresses me out. I'm just totally empathetic to him, and it was just horrible. So I just said all along, I said we'll wait and to get all that done once poor Ollie's gone, including the carpets, which have been in since we moved in, and they're a wreck and they need to come up. But I can't have that disarray in my life and in his little life either, because it's too stressful all around. We obviously, like I said before, we lost Ollie just before Christmas, unfortunately. And it's been really sad, but it has meant that we should start getting this stuff done that we need to get done. And the Artex is just horrific. It's embarrassment when people come around. So we found some plasterers, gave us a price. They said they'd come in for the day, they'd do all the 3 surfaces, the 2 ceilings and the landing. They'll be here for the day and give us a price. We agreed, we set the day. They did turn up. They were nice enough, so it weren't like they weren't nice, but the day was horrendous for me. I had to stay in my bedroom, which I'm bedbound a lot of times, so I'm used to that, but it was like I lost control over my whole environment, and I didn't have access to my kitchen. So if I was hungry, there was not much in the way of us being able to say, like, Gary, can you get me something to eat? Because he could cook anything obviously in there and put something together, because there were people in there, everything were a mess, things were covered over. You just don't have access to it. So I was forced to not eat or eat sugary fatty stuff that's no good for my system. The bathroom, because they were in the hall, I couldn't get to the bathroom sometimes at all because everything was in the way. If I did get to the bathroom, then they were right outside the door and I couldn't relax to even have a wee. I couldn't move freely around my house, and moving freely around my house it's a very small house, so I have lots of surfaces that I hold on to as I make my way around the rooms, up and down the stairs. Everything's really small, my house. Tiny little, 2 up, 2 down. And I'm safe in it because I can hold on to things. So this made it totally unsafe. So even if I'd have felt up to getting up, there was nowhere for me to go. I couldn't safely move around anyway. I couldn't go to the toilet. Everything I felt observed and overheard, with not just going to the toilet, but what I was watching on the telly. It was so noisy. It was hard to sleep, but my body was so breaking down that it was forcing me to sleep anyway. But what got even worse is it was heading towards 6 o'clock at night. They were still here. And I came out of the bedroom. I thought, I'm going to have to leave the bedroom. And I came out and the house was in disarray. Oh my God, it was a complete mess. As it would be when people are plastering, but... And then I was faced with my husband telling me, they're going to be here tomorrow. Another day of this. So the next day was worse. So it had been too late to have any type of meal that night. I can't even remember what we ended up eating, but there we were, malnourished and ready for another next day of it. And that again, it was the same again. And we had the same things. The whole feeling like we'd lost... Well, I'm saying we. I'm sure Gary felt that way too. He was often sat in my son's bedroom because there was nowhere for him to go, because there was the front... Like it's a 2 up, 2 down. The 2 down rooms were no-go areas, and the hall was a no-go area, so we were limited to bedrooms. And we just felt lost. I felt like I'd lost control of everything. I felt like I was under house invasion, and there was men in my house, and I was under house invasion, and my adrenaline was spiking, like my body was telling me I was under threat, and I could feel my heart racing. I felt so poorly, and I was just laid there in bed feeling so ill, and like really bad flu symptoms. I call it like a heavy dizziness, where it's as if I have as if you stood up, as if your head was being forced down, and the dizziness is just making you fall down. I couldn't move properly. I was in so much pain, head to toe. And as well as all of that, I was thinking, if I come out of this room and go to the toilet and they see me, they're probably going to think there's nothing wrong with you. Because you couldn't really see it, especially if I just go from mine to the toilet. I can hold on to the banisters and stuff to get there probably, and I probably wouldn't look much different to a normal person in their eyes. And I presume they'd all been told, because Gary had told the man who we'd arranged it with, that I was poorly in bed, so they knew. But I just felt they were judging me, and my body was just interpreting the whole thing as a threat. And I kept trying to calm myself down, trying to breathe, meditate, take my mind off it. And what's stupid is, I had wanted this doing. I needed this work doing on the house. I knew it needed doing. In effect, I'd arranged it. My husband had arranged it, but I'd said to him, you need to arrange this. I'd invited those people in here to do this to their home. I wasn't expecting to feel like I did. I seriously felt like I was in a house invasion, and my body was under threat. That is how my body was physically reacting. It felt like I was in complete trauma. I was in so much pain throughout my body, from my muscles through to my bones, was in agony, and I took all my medications. It wasn't touching it. It was just all laid together, all this stuff, and my system's already a sensitive system. So when I've got unfamiliar men moving through my safe place, my house, which is my haven because I'm housebound, making loads of noise, changing my environment, my brain was like not going, oh yeah, this is proper your renovations that you need doing to your house, you want doing to your house. My brain was like, intrusion alert, intrusion alert. And my adrenaline spikes were just off the roof. I totally felt trapped, on edge. I was really irritable and nasty. When eventually they left on the second day, I came downstairs and everything was a mess. They'd supposed to have tidied up. They didn't tidy up very good. And even all the stuff, the furniture and things they'd covered up, even after the coverings were taken off, everything was covered in plaster. The whole front room and kitchen was filthy. And that then made me even worse. And I texted my mum and said, come over, please come over. So her and my stepdad Steve came over, and the two of them with Gary started trying to sort everything out a bit, while I just sat there unable to do anything, because physically if I did anything, well, I was too physically poorly to do anything. If I did anything, I know I'm going to make the next day worse, or the next few days worse. So I sat there feeling absolutely pathetic, while these three, including my mum, as cleaning up my house that I wanted doing, plastering, while I sat there almost in tears, just with the devastation of it all. It was so dramatic. I was so dramatic, but that is how I was feeling. Right, on that, let's take a break. Right, I've taken a breath now. Relaxed a bit. I was getting myself worked up again. I got onto the part about having my mum over and my stepdad and Gary and that, and it feels shameful to me that I'm the youngest of us all, and I'm the one who's sat there watching them do the heavy work. It's really, really difficult to be that person and who's sat there watching this. It feels shameful, it feels embarrassing. And although it may seem to people that I've laid in bed for 2 days while the plasterers was here, I wasn't able to relax for 2 days. I was on high alert. I felt totally displaced in my own home. And when you're housebound, your home is it really is your safe haven. And I've worked hard to try and get things in my house to make it really nice to live in. Believe me, it's probably not nice for other people to live in, but for me and my taste. My front room, my eldest brother says, reminds him of a ghost house. Or he said, especially the one that I think it's in America, in the Disney World, there's a ghost house there, the haunted house. He said, that's what my front room looks like. It's got floating candles and a great big moose head on the wall and all sorts of strange stuff. So when I say I've purposely got it to make me feel happy and contented, it is just for me. And nothing's been I've not spent a fortune on it. I don't mean that. I mean, I've created the bits here and there and got different things in a purpose to make my home lovely to be in for me, because I'm here all the time. So having those people in my house, despite me wanting them here and despite them here to do a job to make my house better, it's something that makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. And then you feel the secondary things like, I should be coping better with this. I'm being ridiculous. Other people get on with it. Then that's just shame there. Just the shame of it, that you are reacting this way. It's cruel. I feel cruel to myself, but it's really challenging. And body acts like it is under attack. And although it's dramatic to say that, it's true, that's how I felt. Adrenaline spikes, feeling unsafe, not relaxing, even to go to the toilet, feeling like I'm lying in bed all day. And are they thinking that I am? Are these people thinking, oh, that lazy cat's laid in bed all day? Not that, oh, that poor woman, her nervous system is buzzing on high alert. It's real mental torture as well as the physical torture. I am so pleased it is done with, and now we've got that raw plaster, very Mediterranean feeling in the house, and it all needs painting and all the stuff to be done with it, and I've just said I can't do it. I'd rather leave it like this now. I need a couple of months before I even think about anybody else coming in the house to do anything, and if they do, it's going to have to be very much, we're going to have to say to them, look, room by room, week by week or month by month, do the front room only, do this, do what you need to do, paint the ceiling, and then leave it, because I need that break in between it, and it's going to have to be that way. As much as it'd be lovely just to get it all out the way and it's done, it's not possible. It's like pacing. It's painting and decorating pacing style. So we need it done in small chunks for my body to cope with it and for my mental health to cope with it. There's the thought of, I could get up and Gary could wheel me over to my mum's house and sit in there for the whole day while it's being done, but we have a strange cat as well. So we have a cat. She's a black cat and she's called Red. And she's quite mental. She doesn't like strangers. She attacks people, basically. She attacks us, but she's quirky. And she's frightened. She gets frightened. So at least if I'm in my bedroom with her, she can be in with me. And we're safe together. We look after each other. So if I left her, I would be worried about her. And she'd probably be alright. But my head would just worry about it anyway. I'd just be constantly worrying about her. It's horrible. So this is the way forward. Next time we have somebody, they just do the front room. It's one room out the limits to me. So I can sit in the bedroom, but at least we've got the kitchen and the bathroom, because they're going to be downstairs. And just do it like that. Pacing for painting and decorating. So, apart from my reality of being completely under threat, it's something you have to live with when you've got ME, isn't it? Your long-term stress and your thresholds being low. It's just, you've got to be honest with yourself. And there's nothing inspirational about any of that. But at least we've come to the realisation that we now know a way forward to go with things. It's quite weird because I think early 2024, the old man that lives across the road from us, he drove his car straight into the side of my house at full whack and cracked the house from the floor all the way up to the bedroom. There was a crack in the wall, straight up to the bedroom, across the landing and into the bedrooms. And we had to have the whole kitchen pulled out, the plaster all knocked off the walls, to get right into the bricks on the inside and the outside, to remove them, put some metal spikes in there, put them back, and then have the whole kitchen put back together. They had to check all the internal walls and everything, and it was weeks and weeks and weeks of this type of disruption to our lives, and it was really bad. It was at a time when I'd not long since gone back to work after being off poorly, and it come at the complete wrong time because I had all sorts of mental health worries with going back to work, which we'll talk about another time. But I was physically under stress, I was mentally under stress, and then he drove his car into my house. And it was total disruption. Even more so than this, because this lasted weeks and weeks and weeks, but yet it didn't feel as big a deal while it was happening as it does now. And I think that's probably down to me being a lot more poorly with ME 2 years later than I was then. I was very ill then. I have been severe ME for a long time, but I was still working at that point and pushing through and making myself worse. And I think because I was so focused on, I was having to be well and prove my worth at work, that sort of overrided what was happening. I did have to take a couple of weeks off because at some points we didn't have a kitchen at all for weeks, and it was just impossible living conditions, really. And there was no way I could have worked with the state everything was in the house. But I was so, once that bit, I was so concentrated on, I've said I'm well enough to come back to work, I'm fighting for my job, I'm showing you that I can do my job. I was so adamant to prove that. And I think that overrid or gave me and my mind and body something to hook onto and latch onto that got me through it. Whereas this that was out of my control as well. That was a man driving into the house, so it was totally unexpected. But this, I actually, this plastering, I'd planned this. I wanted this doing. This was something I needed doing. I was expecting them to be a mess, but it totally affected me different. Whether it's that I didn't have that to lean on, whether it's just that I'm in a worse way physically with ME than I was then, whether I'm in a different mental health space in my mind, I don't know, but my body physically reacted to this whole situation. Like I've said, I literally felt like I was in the midst of a house invasion, and my body felt like I'd been beaten up in it. Every muscle hurt, like as if I was covered in bruises from head to toe. And this is the thing with ME and chronic fatigue. It's all fluctuating. Your body is depleted already, and you don't have that resilience buffer that people have where things like this happen, and you're quite resilient and you think, right, well, it's okay, I can get through this. I just have to be uncomfortable for a few days and then everything will be great. That sort of buffer I don't seem to have in this unhealthy body. And when healthy people get stressed, they can burn it off. But if my body's trying to burn off stress, it goes straight into crash territory. It's not got anything to fall back on. So there's a real difference that I think you have to give yourself a bit of grace really about that when you're not coping. You're not weak, you're just overstimulated beyond capacity. But in the moment, my brain can't cope with that reasoning. My brain's just saying, no, you idiot. So there's nothing really to take away from this other than the fact that I'm sure there's people out there that have felt exactly the same. And I hope it just makes you feel that you're not as stupid, because we all feel like this. We're suffering from an illness, which I call it the most stupid illness ever, because you don't know what it's doing, why it's doing it, why you've suddenly got one symptom one day and another symptom another day, and why you can react to something one way and then another day the same thing can happen and you're totally different. It's just the most ridiculous illness, and you can't force yourself to do anything, you can't push yourself into doing anything. You're just stuck. You're just totally stuck. And there's nowhere to go. And it often feels like there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can go. There's no cure. So where do you go from here? And that's the reality of living with chronic fatigue syndrome. Plus, on top of it, people think you look okay and think you're making a mountain out of a molehill, and that you can't actually feel that bad, or she might probably feel a bit poorly, but I'm sure it's not that bad. She looks alright. Well, I'm not. I don't feel alright. Anyway, I hope that has resonated with somebody out there. So please leave a comment. Let me know your experiences. Please follow us on the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, give us a follow, YouTube, follow us, Apple Podcasts, please follow us, and you'll also be notified when the next episodes are out. Also, I have a TikTok channel, and I'm just setting up a Facebook page now, so just search for Chronically Glitched on any of those and you'll find us. I try and post little odd bits of things that I do, like I've done before, my car bag, which is my bag of little saving graces for when I try and get out the house, which, spoiler alert, I haven't got out the house. I've got a pacing strategy on there, so please check them out. And like I said, my Facebook one, I'm literally just setting it up, so it's there, but there's not much on it at the minute. But please follow it, because we will be putting more stuff on it. Before I move on to things that are keeping me company, I just want to let you know that 2 weeks ago on the podcast with Mum and Me, my mum mentioned that she started the lottery, and she does the multiple sclerosis lottery and the ME lottery, and she said it was £4 a week. And she's asked me 700 times to make sure I tell you it's £4 a month, not a week. So it's not as much money as she said. And I've said to her she can say it again when she comes on Mum and Me episode in 2 weeks' time. So please, if you feel like doing a lottery, the ME Association lottery, £4 a month, go for it. What's been keeping me company this last couple of weeks? I've recently started the new TV show on the iPlayer, Small Profits, and it's by Mackenzie Crook, who wrote Detectorist, and Detectorist is lovely. If you've not seen Detectorist, please watch it. Anybody who's got a chronic illness and wants to watch something lovely on telly that's really relaxing, really slow paced, but absolutely amazingly written, acted, fantastic story, just watch anything of Mackenzie Crook's, because he's a genius, and his way of storytelling is so relaxing and soothing. It soothes the ME soul. So his new series, Small Profits, I'm only one episode in and I'm hooked already. So please give that a go. I'm still on Succession. I'm on season 3 and I'm still loving it. I'm loving the music, I'm loving the cast, and it's great. And then of course my little bit of fluff on the side, I'm watching Love Island, which just keeps me totally entertained. I sometimes just like something just as ridiculous as that, where they're all got drama going off, and it makes me laugh. And I love seeing what these young people these days are wearing, or lack of sometimes, but just like things like the jewellery, the glamour. I love all that. When I was young, I loved glam. I always had hair pieces, eyelashes, loads of makeup, loads of funky clothes. So I love looking at what people are wearing and things, and what seems to be the in thing. Even though I can't wear any of that crap anymore, I still like to look at it. So that's my 3 things I've been watching. I've got my playlists on Spotify for you. They'll be linked to the Spotify podcast. So if the links are not there, if you're listening somewhere else, just go into Spotify, search for Chronically Glitched. You'll find my channel. We've got links to all our playlists there. We've got relaxation ones. We've got February's love playlist. We've got January playlist, and don't forget the Survivor's Big Finish audio dramas, seasons 1 to 3. I've put a playlist on as well for you. So that's just really good, because I can't stress how much I've found audio dramas to benefit me with ME, because I can't a lot of time watch the telly. I can often watch a bit of telly a day if I'm not taking a lot of notice. I can try and watch an episode of something together, me and Gary, when we have our tea. That's our time. After the meal, I'm in bed. That's me done for the day. I have to rest totally, and a lot of time I can't put the telly on, or I can only watch like an hour of something. So I tend to try do an hour of either I'll do a Succession, or I'll do the episode of Love Island that's been on night before, and then that's it. And then I'll put audio dramas on, and it just gives my eyes a rest, and I can still be fully engrossed in something that's so rich, and the world building in them is amazing. You can just totally picture everything. And Big Finish do the most high quality, premium quality audio dramas, and they're going to start a new series of Young Bond, which sounds fantastic. So I can't wait for that. I love Bond. Me and Gabriel, my son, I think was it last summer maybe, we decided to do every single Bond film, from the first Sean Connery right through to Daniel Craig's tenure and his ending, and a lot of, well, Gabriel definitely never watched all of them, and I'd seen some when I was young, and we just had such a fantastic time. That was at a time when I could watch a film every couple of days. I really struggle with films at the minute. I often have to do them in a couple of sittings, but we did have to do that. Sometimes them in a couple of sittings, and sometimes we'd put them on and I'd go, oh God, I don't feel well, I'm going to have to go to sleep. But luckily, he understands, you know, so. But it was just some nice time together. And I think that's about it. And that's me for today. So thank you for listening and joining me again. I really appreciate it. Please follow me. The more people that follow me, the better that we can reach more people. And tell all your friends about it. Please let everybody know. And get in touch. Get in touch on our TikTok, Facebook. Leave a comment somewhere. If you have your own story to tell and like come on, that'd be lovely to hear from other people, and we can discuss. Sometimes at some point I'm going to have a couple of my friends come on who suffered with their own health issues, and I just find it interesting and to learn about other people's health issues. So we've got that to come as well. Okay, thanks everybody. See you next time. Bye.